All right, Shalom. This is Har One by Yasha Allah of the GMS Lions Den Camp. I want to say call Halayim, La Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Harakah Kodash, Ma'amah. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and their elders. And Shalom to you, Akim, and Akwatim and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the four corners of the earth. I want to go into this topic dealing with the unicorn. I was just reading some this tabloid. I think it's a blog or whatever, and I gotta look at the date and see when it was written. But I was reading it, and it was just spiritual. You know what they were talking about the World Wide Web, right? The internet becoming the the unicorn. All right, so I'm gonna get into a couple scriptures and see where we go. This is Job 39:5, and it says, "Who have sent out the wild ass free, or who have loosed the bands of the wild ass? Whose house I have made the wilderness, and the barren land his dwellings." All right, so that's talking about the elect. All right, the prophets around the four corners of the earth that were kicked out of their land, and he made the world. He kicked us out into the wilderness. All right, scriptures say Esau made the world a wilderness, but the world was already a wilderness. Outside of the nation of Israel. Now it says, so the Lord scattered us around the four corners of the earth, and among these nations, that's where we're going to teach the word, all right, in the midst of the Gentiles. Now it says, it says, whose house I have made the wilderness. So he destroyed Jerusalem in 586 BC, and in 70 AD, he scattered us into the wilderness, according to Revelation chapter 12. All right, this is Revelations 12 and 6. Actually in 5, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Yahweh and to his throne. So that's Yahweh Shai when he was on the scene, 2,000 years ago. He died around between 36 and 38 AD. All right, around the time Caligula became a ruler. Now, so it's talking about Yahweh Shai. All right. Now it says, where was that? All right, who was to, verse 5, who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron? Yahweh Shai gonna rule all nations, all right, with no mercy. And her child was caught up unto Yahweh and to his throne. So Yahweh Shai sitting on the right hand of the Father right now. Now after that, in 70 AD, this happened. Verse 6, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she had a place prepared for her. And that place is America. And, and the wilderness represents Europe, Egypt, west coast of Africa. We were scattered around the four corners of the earth through slavery after migration, forced migration from Jerusalem, So and we represent that wild ass, all right, in the sense of being stupid, and an animal that's not like the sheep. You have to become a sheep, you have to be taught. I'm talking spiritually, asses and donkeys, they don't chew the cud. All right, so they don't have the extra filtration system in their body. So they have to be fed provender from the proper clean provender, pre-cleaned. So you have to be taught. All right, we had to be taught. That's why the Lord set up teachers. All right, we couldn't just go out and teach. We had to have teachers. Now, so that's what the wild ass represents. Now, the wild ass could also represent a sense of a lowly being, a lowly nation set up as prey upon the earth, frolicking upon the hills, the mountains, frolic among the nations, seeking green grass, seeking the truth, seeking righteousness, right? Now, seeking the elect, fishing for men. All right, fishing for the 1/3 and the 144,000. It says, he scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth he the crier of the driver. Now, he scorneth the multitude of the city. So this prophet, this person that's going to teach, all right, is going to scorn the wicked of these cities. Now it says, neither regardeth he the crier of the driver, the crying of the driver. And that driver represents like a police officer or a tax collector, you know, any enforcer that's threatening you from this current society. Neither regardeth he the crier, the crying, all right, the threats. All right, this is that word crying. It says a crashing or loud clamor. So what? The uproars of the nations, the tumults of the nations. All right, so a crashing, a loud clamor. Now it says crying of the driver. Now the driver is this. It says to drive, to tax, harass, tyrannize. All right, the tyrants. To press, drive, oppress. So you know, like Paul said, he went out teaching, sparing none, man. He didn't care who told him to stop teaching. He just kept teaching. All right. Don't fear these people, man. Don't fear their faces. Go teach the word out in the highways and byways, in the streets of the city, going to their nobles, their gates of their nobles, which represents their tyrants, which represents their elite. All right. It says exert demanding pressure. Wow, man. So the ones that's pushing the RFID chip, the ones that's pushing saying that the people that teach the truth are terrorists, you know, threatening you when they call the police on you, and so on and so on. All right, and also the scoffers. It says to press, drive, to exact. All right, so the exactors. Now it says driver, taskmaster, ruler, oppressor, tyrant. All right. Exactor of tribute, to be hard pressed, man. So Job 39:7. He scorneth the multitude of the city. It says the word scorn is sakak, right? Sakakwa. Now it says to laugh, to play. To laugh, usually in contempt or derision. That's why you call you a dumb ass, a wild ass, you know. To make sport of, to jest, to play, including instrumental music, singing, dancing, to laugh mockingly, to laugh in pleasure or detraction, you know. All right, so that word right there, scorneth. So to mock, to laugh at, and that's, you know, Yahweh is laughing in the heavens. Yahweh Shai is laughing when he tears down the city and brings them low. And also the elect are laughing, man, are going to be laughing. And what is that? This is Isaiah 28:11. For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people, man. All right, so we speak in a different language. You know, we scatter around the four corners of the earth. So you hear the truth in Spanish, you hear the truth in English, you hear the truth in all these different languages. But the thing is, when you speak the Lord's name, you know, you're supposed to deal with his name in the ancient Hebrew, because anything translated into another tongue had not the same force in it. So if you want that force, that power, that direct link, you got to deal with his name and truth and sincerity in the Hebrew, Paleo ancient Hebrew, which the Most High's name is Yahweh and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. And you calling upon him, you know. And the things you pray in English when you're speaking, the Lord knows your spirit, because the spirit cries out for you while you're praying, and Yahweh Shai is praying for you in the heavens. All right. So it says, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. All right. So this is the word stammering. So with stammering lips, the prophets are going to be stammering, meaning what? It says la'ag, ga, right? La'ag. And it says a buffoon, a foreigner. So, you know, mocking, a mocker. So we're going to mock these people. Scripture say, I made your forehead hard against their foreheads, as an adamant harder than flint. All right. So he said, cut them to the heart with this word, man. And he said, contend for the faith. And in doing so, he said, we are fools for Yahweh's sake. We are low people, you know, but the Lord still used us. All right. He chose the small thing, the low things of the earth to confound the mighty. All right. So we laugh, we joke, we might joke on people, we might rag on people, you know, being in this truth. Mock at them when they get destroyed for being wicked. All right. So that's what he means. And not caring what nobody say. And just keep teaching, you know. And look at IUIC. That's something to laugh at. Seeing them be divided like that, Satan divided against Satan. You know, seeing judgment come upon these damn people. All right, so I'm gonna read that again. It says Job 9:39-7. He scorneth the multitude of the city, neither regardeth he the crying of the tyrants. All right, so he mocks at the multitude that comes up against him, and neither regardeth he the cry of the crying of the threats, right, of the oppressor. The range of the mountains is his pasture. All right, and he searcheth after every green thing, and that's a scripture. All right, this is Solomon, Song of Solomon 1:7. This is Solomon, Yahushua, speaking a parable about the elect, all right, the called out of the children of Israel, the woman. Now it says, tell me, verse 7, tell me, O thou, whom my soul loveth, where thou feedest. And this would be the woman speaking to Yahushua, saying, where is your truth? You know, where is the green pastures? And now it says, where thou makest. Let me read that again so it'll be clear. Tell me, O thou, whom my soul loveth. All right, and our soul loves Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. All right, where thou feedest. All right, so that's what we asking the Lord, show us where the truth is upon this earth, and it resides with Apostle Tahar and everybody that's up under that umbrella. Now it says, where thou makest thy flock to rest at noon, and this is noon. All right, he made us rest in this truth. As we were going through oppression and slavery, the Lord gave us rest, just like the name Noah means comfort or rest, of which the Spirit that represents the Holy Spirit. All right, he let us enter into his spiritual rest, being in this truth, rest with him. Right, this is the rest where he calls the weary to rest. And someday, the elect are going to rest, enter into his rest, which is that in the kingdom. It says, for why should I be as one that turneth aside by the flocks of thy companions? You know, why should we be as IUIC that turneth aside by the flocks of thy companions, by turning away from the elect? That's what you don't want to be. So that's why you ask the Lord to show you the truth. You ask the Lord to lead you not into temptation. All right. Now it says, tell me, verse 8, if thou know not, O thou fairest among women, this is be Yahushua talking, go thy way forth by the footsteps of the flocks. All right. So where was that at? Out in the streets, the highways and byways. Follow the footprints, follow the steps, walk in the way. All right. Now it says, because it say what? It's so narrow that only one man can go there and that. So You have to follow, be an example, and then be an example and follow an example. All right, follow the example. Now it says, and feed thy flocks. So like it, go thy way forth by the footsteps of the flock, and feed thy kids beside the shepherd's tent, man. All right, and the shepherd's tent represent Yahushai's tents, the tabernacle of King David. All right, the tents of Kedar, which represents King David, the house of David. All right, the elect. All right, so verse 8, Job 39:8, the range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searcheth after every green thing. So looking for the elect, seeking for the truth. All right, and where we're scattered around the four corners of the earth, you're still gonna find the truth there now. Usually the truth was in Jerusalem, all right, in a centralized spot like a central bank, right? But now it's scattered around the four corners of the earth. It's been decentralized. All right. And now where we're at, we represent Jerusalem. It's a people before it's a place. Now, verse 9, will the unicorn be willing to serve thee or abide by thy crib? You know, and that unicorn, that's what I want to get into. All right. And the unicorn is the internet. All right, the World Wide Web. When you sit down at that computer, they couldn't do that you know, before the internet came out. All right, we couldn't see what's happening over in Russia or what's happening around the world. You know, you had newspapers and shit like that, and you had TV stations. But the World Wide Web, that's where the elect are able to teach on and push the word around the four corners of the earth. You know, starting with Apostle Tahar, you know, and his voice went out around on the waves, man, around the world, to the point because 2,000 years ago, Yahushua had to travel and walk. You had to take ships on the waves. If you wanted information, like Alexander, the Library of Alexandria, when they took over a nation, they would take their literature as well. But then they had to travel way back, all right? But if the Lord would have had us teaching city to city, right now, you might travel and visit brothers, but most of the traveling of the word is done on the web. Now, can you imagine having to gather up the money to go to New York just to teach and then go to every city, state in America and around the four corners of the earth to teach this word? Because the scriptures say the gospel is going to be taught around the four corners of the earth. And this is the Lord's way of doing it. He set up the World Wide Web, you know? So it says, will a unicorn be willing to serve thee, right? Or abide by thy crib? Canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow? And some people teach that that's talking about the Illuminati shutting down the internet. Can they bind it up? And I don't know if anybody in the truth teaches, I'm saying, but I heard some people teaching it. But what it's talking about is, can you make this internet work for you? Meaning bind it up and make it plow the field for you. Meaning you got to learn the internet. You got to learn how to use it. You know, and it's the Most High's power that's making it happen. It wouldn't just work by itself. You see that? The Most High gave it that, created this idea, device, imagination for Esau to come up with. It probably was Jake that came up with it, but, you know, Esau put his face on it. So it says, would a unicorn be willing to serve thee? And it's a service to us. Once you hit upload, you hope that it go through. You hope that it reaches who it needs to reach. While you sleeping day and night, the internet is still going. People can get on there 24/7 and see you like you teaching. You know, so it's working for us. It's a workhorse for us. You know, we're using it. All right. Now, it says, canst thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow? Meaning put him into, put this thing to work. All right. Make it work for you. Or will he harrow the valleys after thee? See, harrow the valley meaning plow the valleys after you, meaning the pastures, the ground, the people. You know, will it till for you? And it does. The Lord set it up for this machine to work for us. We speak into it, just like the Lord speaks into us, and we go out. This internet, we speak into it, and it's like a microphone, and the Lord can send it to whoever he wants at any moment. They can cut on the internet and see you teaching over in China somewhere. All right. And that's why it's called a unicorn. I'm gonna get into the definition of that word. Now, it says, "Wilt thou trust him? Because his strength is great." You know, of course, we don't trust anything in society, but what it means is, you know, you ain't gonna sit down at the radio station and say, "Hey, I want to teach this word." You're not gonna get on the phone and just teach. You get what I'm saying? So we use the internet, right? TV could do it, but it's you can't flood the stations in that way. You know, it might be popular, and if you're in Philadelphia, you might be popular in Philadelphia, but somebody in Florida won't know you on the station. On the internet, it's different. You know, people can share your video, pass it all around different sites. That's the Lord's doing, man. That's the Most High set it up that way. All right. "Canst thou bind the unicorn with his bands in the furrow?" All right. So that means band him up, tie it to the shoulders of the unicorn, and make it work for you. And it's not talking about a unicorn. It's talking about an ox, a wild ox. You know, that's what oxes are for work. You know, heavy loads. Bearing heavy loads, uploads, right? Where is it at? Verse 11. "Wilt thou trust him? Because his strength is great." All right, the World Wide Web is all over the world. It's very great, meaning in size and wideness. "Or wilt thou leave thy labor to him?" And that's what you do when you teach. You leave it. You leave it to the internet to do the rest. You know, of course, you're going to do the sharing and promoting of your videos. And people that say you're not supposed to do that, man, you full of shit. People that say you don't want likes and views, you full of shit, man. You know, this is not talking about anybody like apostles. No, I'm talking about these robots. Yeah, you trying to get views. Well, not me. I'm talking about with people. Of course you want to get views. Why? Because the more people that hear this word, the more Yahweh Bashim Yahweh name is getting promoted, and the people are getting condemned, marked, so we can get the hell out of here. So, you know, people that don't even attempt to promote their video, and he's like, "Shit, I just put it up. That did the work." That ain't, no, you got to push your shit, man. You got to do it. You got to put your video out there. Maybe subscribe to other pages, you know, things like that, man. Be involved. Anybody feels otherwise, hey, man, to each their own, you know. But of course, you ain't gonna cry over views, but if you're getting a lot of views, that's a good thing, you know. And anybody that hate on that, they just on some envious shit, or they don't want you to have views, or they, you know, try to make themselves look better. Now, you got people that don't deserve them views. But verse 11. "Wilt thou trust him because his strength is great? Or wilt thou leave thy labor to him?" I'm going to get that word. All right. It says what? To trust, be confident, sure. All right. Batak, to be bold, to be secure, to cause to trust, make secure, to feel safe, be careless, to hide for refuge. So what it's talking about is having faith that the word is going to be sent out and reach who it needs to reach on this internet. Where you get weary, where you get tired of doing your videos, you know, when you ain't nobody listening anyway. So what we doing if we're stupid to keep doing? Well, the scriptures say we are fools for Yahweh's sake. And he chose through the foolishness of preaching that we should be saved on the highways and byways, and also on the internet waves, the highways and byways. All right. Job 39:11. "Wilt thou trust him because his strength is great? Or wilt thou leave thy labor to him?" You know, and that's what we do. We do the work, and we go teach out in the streets, and we upload it, and then we go do the work again, you know. And and that's just it, man. It says, wilt thou believe him that he will bring home thy seed and gather it into thy barn? Right. We don't have faith in the internet, but we have faith that Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai set this up, so we'll be able to teach on it. And you got videos of them heathens, the Illuminati, saying the internet, they wish they never came up with it or put it out there. Why? Because it's exposing them. Esau is being revealed, the mystery of iniquity being revealed through it. All right. And the Lord's word is rapidly spreading throughout the four corners of the earth. So do we have faith that is going to bring home thy seed? Yes. The elect. All right. Bring them home, meaning what? Spiritually, mentally. Home is where the heart is. Turning our hearts back to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And gather it into the barn. Set it up for salvation. Right? Gather it, right? This is Isaiah 34:16. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh and read. All right. So the book was written for us today, for our learning. And the Lord, we trusted that his comforter and his word, his Bible was they trusted that the scripture was going to reach us today. All right. Just like we trust that this other, this unicorn with the internet is going to work for us as well. All right. Now it says, seek ye out of the book of Yahweh, the scriptures, not no Quran, no other book, and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. Right? Nothing in this book is going to fail. Everything in the scriptures, as people going to see out there, from Genesis to Revelation, has happened. We almost in that time to saying it's complete, except for because the RFID chip getting pushed. The war didn't break out yet, and the RFID chip not pushed on a mass scale and made it mandatory. The war is about to break out, and then you got salvation. And that's it. It's complete. It's finished. What he spoke from the beginning all the way to the end, the Alpha and Omega, it happened. So nobody gonna want any other book, but this is the one that's for your salvation. He said, because in it you think ye have salvation. We hope for it and have faith in it. For my mouth it have commanded. So the Lord commanded his spirit to go out into the four corners of the earth. And his spirit have gathered them. So anybody that's in the truth and in the true doctrine, it's the Lord's spirit that gathered us. Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, ultimately, that set up Apostle Tahar, that set other apostles up around the four corners of the earth, and that set up the internet for us to be able to spread this word quicker. And but it's his spirit that set this up. All right. This is Psalms 104:10. He sendeth the springs into the valleys which run among the hills. And it's twofold, because after the flood with Noah, the Lord still sent the springs into the, to subside from the mountains. All right. He trickled it down throughout the rest of the earth to subside the waters from the flood. But also it's talking about the elect today. The Lord raining down his word from the oceans of heaven, spiritually speaking, and into the rivers of the being the elect. All right. The elect being poured out into the streets around the four corners of the earth. He said, drink from your own cistern and let your waters be poured out into the streets. So we drink from the word that fills our cisterns, right? And then we filter it out into the streets, man. And that's what he's talking about in different cities and different countries. Now it says, he watereth the hills from his chambers. Right? The Most High watereth us from heaven. All right. and the earth is satisfied with the fruit of thy works. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and the earth. Oh, so like it. Where was I? Damn it! All right, Psalms 104:10. He sent up the springs into the valleys which run among the hills. All right, they give drink. Well, that still fit though. You know, scriptures that was on point. That still was on point. But he's verse 11. They give drink to every beast of the field. The wild asses quench their thirst. And the wild asses represent the Gentiles, which were us. You know, not the physical Gentiles, but spiritual Gentiles that were brought back. All right, we were acting as beasts, following at the beast. But the Lord called us back as wild asses, man, you know, having our thirst quenched. You know, so. Because, you know, Yahushua, when he rode in on a donkey and an ass's colt. And he said, going what? Bind, I'm going to say it non-verbatim, you know, bind the ass to the colt, if I'm saying it correctly. That's talking about what? Bringing the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom back together. All right. So we represent that wild ass, but the internet represents the unicorn. Now let's get into that. All right, this is the word for what's that? Unicorn. Now there's no such thing as unicorns. Unicorns are imaginary, you know. But what they used to call it was the rhino. But right here it's talking about what? A wild bull. All right, like wild ox or a wild bull, or ra'am, you know. And in the English they say a reem. All right, and I'm gonna get that too. This is probably the great aurochs or wild bulls, which are now extinct. The exact meaning is not known. All right, so I'm gonna get into this real quick. All right, so I'm gonna read this. This is an article I was reading, man. It's not like no gospel joint or nothing, I don't think, you know. So it's just average, just Esau just rapping, right? Talking about government stuff and shit like that. But it was spiritual because I was reading it, and it's written in 2015. It says, we've got this whole unicorn thing all wrong, right? Now, it says unicorn is the term du jour in Silicon Valley, used to describe a startup with a valuation of more than $1 billion. All right, so that's what they use in Americans' terms as a unicorn, like something that takes more than $1 billion to create. Is like a newfound idea, a new a unicorn, you know, like something. If you see a unicorn, it would be a rare sight, an amazing thing to see. If you know they're not real, but I'm talking about that was the story of a unicorn, you know, according to the movies and the cartoons and shit. Fantasy. If you seen a unicorn, it was rare, you know, and that's what the internet is, the World Wide Web. You know, it was something new. Now, it says Fortune magazine started keeping a list of companies with that exalted status. See, they started keeping a list of companies that were like the companies that they noticed started with for $1 billion, right? So Fortune magazine, it says of companies with that exalted status, TechCrunch has a constantly updated unicorn leaderboard. Now, I'm gonna skip down so I ain't gotta read all this madness. All right, here you go. Now it says Google Maps was a unicorn. You know, just peep what they're saying, man. Google Maps, when that came out, that was a unicorn, right? The original multi-touch iPhone, even before the App Store, was a unicorn as well. All right, heck, he said the World Wide Web was a unicorn. Look at that there. See that? The World Wide Web was a unicorn. even though it didn't make Tim Berners-Lee a billionaire. So Tim Berners-Lee is, I guess, the one that started it. I still remember showing someone the World Wide Web in 1993. And it says, clicking on a link and saying that picture just came from the University of Hawaii. So being able to now today dumping videos out on the internet, you know, they got people touch screens, all kind of shit, man, all the way up to the chip now. But the Lord created the internet for us to teach the word on. It says people didn't believe it, thought we were shitting them. Siri, Google now, and Cortana, which are all them AI technologies linked to Google today, they are all unicorns. Uber and Lyft are unicorns dealing with technology. These things, let me read this. It said, these things are unicorns not because of their valuation, not because of money, but because they are the kind of apps that make you say, what the fuck? And that's what the internet was, man. You know? And when people see us on it, when people see us on the internet, they say, what the fuck? Right? Excuse my French. So it says, can you still remember the first time you realized that you could summon a car on demand to pick you up wherever you are? Uber. How cool that was. Before you started taking it for granted, even complaining about it. If you haven't seen the late night TV rant by Louis C.K., everything is amazing and nobody's happy. Watch it now. So I'm gonna get down to the point. All right, characteristics of a unicorns. So what makes a real unicorn of this amazing kind? 1, it seems unbelievable at first. All right, so the internet, the World Wide Web was unbelievable at first. It changes the way the world works, and through the internet, the Lord has us teaching on the internet, changing the way the world works. And the internet, when it came into existence, changed the way the world works, man. The way we do our work, the way we teach. You don't have to go city to city anymore. You can go right through the internet. All right, it changed the way the world of Israel do their work too. It has enormous economic impact. It says it has enormous economic impact that is not all captured by the entrepreneurs and venture capitalists who birthed it. All right, that's a unicorn. You know, something that make you say, what the fuck? And that's what the World Wide Web was. And that's what the elect are too. All right, this is Mark 13:3. All right, Mark 13:3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, tell us, when shall these things be? You know, when shall be the end? Because they thought the end, they was looking at Yahushua, so they like, this is it, you here. But Yahushua was saying, no, man, this is not it. This is not the end. For a lot of things got to come to pass first, you know, and the Lord had to be crucified. You know, he's going to return in the spiritual body, you know, and the elect are going to be lifted up. And we were going to be scattered around the four corners of the earth. And all that didn't happen fully at that time yet. Now, verse 4, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign when all these things shall be fulfilled? You know, and these are the signs that we watch today. The prophecies to let us know what time we in, you know, and that slavery has happened. Us being scattered has happened. And now we're at the end of our judgment and going into the judgment of Esau and these 2/3 of our people and these heathens. And Yahushua answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you, man. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. So saying that they're the Messiah, saying that the Lord sent them, when they're deceiving you. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, we're hearing wars and rumors of wars today. Be ye not troubled, right? So don't be troubled in your spirit, but gain more patience, gain more faith and joy. For such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet, right? Because the rumors is that boiling, that building up of the fire, you know? He said, what am I if it already be kindled? Meaning, he said, what will I if it already be kindled? Meaning, what is it? You should know his will by everything already being cast, the fire being on the earth and all hell breaking loose. You should know what the will of the Father is by seeing that. He said he came not to send peace, but a sword and fire and division. All right. Because in the midst of hell is what you have, where you have deliverance for the righteous. For such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, right? We're seeing that right now. And there shall be famines and troubles. And these are the beginning of the sorrows. Wow, man. It's going to be crazy. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to the councils, and in the synagogues ye shall be beaten. And ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. And that happened then, and it's going to happen again today. He said, touch not my anointed. But some are going to be martyrs. Some are going to be tested. Some are going to be persecuted. And the gospel must first, this is the point, the gospel must first be published among all nations, man. You know, published means to be publicized, and spoken out into the public, into the ears, and seen by the eyes of the people. All right, the elect. So they got to go out to the four corners of the earth among all nations where we're at, where the elect are scattered at. All right. This is Ezekiel 11:16. Therefore say, thus saith Yahweh power, although I have cast them far off among the heathen, right? He cast us off from our home, from Jerusalem, among the heathen. And although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come. Therefore say, thus saith Yahweh power, I will even gather you from the people. They say his spirit have gathered them. And how is he going to do that? Is he going to send Pastor Har, one of us, all around the map, walking and shit, or passports and shit? No, he's going to do it through the internet. All right. The unicorn. Now it says, and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Israel. And that's going to happen when his angels show up to gather the elect from around the four corners of the earth, as his word has already is gathering us now. All right, this is Acts 2:16. But this is that which was spoken by the prophet Joel. So, you know, the Old Testament and New Testament go hand in hand. And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yahweh, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh. And he's doing that. He already did that. He poured it even upon the heathen to get the prophecies going. You see that? Get the prophecies in motion. And the 2/3 to play their part, you know, to separate us. And he put his spirit upon, the righteous spirit upon his elect to do his will as well. It says, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh. And how is he doing that? Spiritually, of course, and also through the internet, man. Each one, reach one, teach one, you know. As soon as they believe, they receive the Holy Spirit, the truth. All right, baptized into the truth. Now, and it says, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. You know, the daughter's not going to be out there teaching, but the daughter's going to be what? Singers, poets. They may have dreams. You know, she may teach her little sisters. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions. Like your daughter might come up to you and say, yeah, we're going to do this in the kingdom. You know, imagining. And your men shall dream dreams, man. All right. So the Lord speaks to you through dreams, through visions, and also really ultimately through his word, through his prophets. All right. And we see them through the internet or face to face. We see through a glass foggy. That's twofold. All right, this is Zephaniah 3:20. At that time will I bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, for I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes, save Yahweh. All right, and we're seeing it happen. You see it out in the streets, you know, but you can't see what's going on in California if you're in you know, Virginia somewhere, right? You know, when you walk out your door. But you can't see the prophecies. You can see the wickedness. You can see sin that's being done you know, before your eyes. But can you see the prophecies playing out? The Lord set it up through the internet. He turning back our captivity literally before our eyes. We're the audience of this theater, right? Theos. Now, the internet is our platform. It's our, you know, now, and that's just it, man. He's turning back our captivity before our eyes. That's why he told us to watch. And how do you watch? Through the internet, teaching, reaching, speaking, learning, digesting, comprehending, right? Eating the word. This is Isaiah 35:6. Then shall the lame man leap. Actually, then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. And that's happening today. All right, wherever you at, scattered around the four corners of the earth, if you woke up to this truth. Then shall the lame man leap as an hart. All right, and this is spiritual. And the tongue of the dumb shall sing, the dumb ass, right? And we sing what? Sing the song of Moses, the truth. And the only ones that are able to sing that song are the elect. All right, the song of Zion. For in the wilderness, see, look at that wilderness again, shall waters break out. All right, so amongst the Gentiles, the water's going to break out, meaning the elect are going to be scattered amongst the Gentiles as the dew upon the grass. And the streams in the desert, right? He said we're going to be as water in a dry place, right? In the desert. And the parched ground shall become a pool. Wow, man. So where the Lord took his word away from us and it was dry, he made it a pool now. And the thirsty lands, the thirsty land, springs of water. And the habitation of dragons, you know, where each lay shall be grass with reeds and rushes. Wow, man. Judges and prophets. All right. Wherever we're at amongst these dragons, Esau, around the four corners of the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. You know, you're going to still have the reeds and rushes, man. And now verse 8, and a highway shall be there. So the Lord set up a highway and a way, and it shall be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those, the wayfaring men, those fools shall not err therein. All right, I'm going to end it with this, man, because the Lord said he set up watchmen upon our walls, and we represent those watchmen. But now, what do you people supposed to do out there? You're supposed to watch. You're supposed to watch the examples and watch the same thing we watching. You know, watch for the danger and warn each other and be thou prepared. How you prepare yourself? You know, you cling on to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. You know what I'm saying? and gird up the loins of your mind with his word and prepare yourself. Now, verse 35, watch ye therefore. Now we watching, and watch dealing with what also a window to look through, to guard, to warn. All right, it says, watch ye therefore. Hey, what's the name of the damn computers? Windows, right? Windows. And the computer screens and shit too. And it says, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at evening or at night, at midnight. And also watching, meaning keeping yourself, guarding yourself, and guarding your people, going up into the gaps. Or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch.